Hello everyone, um, gonna do a video on the newly announced Galactic Legend, Pirate King Hondo Ohnaka, and I'm gonna go through some requirement predictions. So, we know there's gonna be 16, and we already have 4 of them. So, we have Ezra at Relic 6, Fetch and Smuggler Chewbacca at Relic 7, Hondo Ohnaka at Relic 9, bit annoying but not really surprising, and in the kit reveal they said Captain Thano would be required at Relic 5, but here, like, in game it says Relic 3, so I don't know what that's about, but we also know some of, like, the new marquees. I don't think they've actually confirmed it, but probably the other 5 are very likely going to be requirements. So then we're mainly going to speculate on what the other 7 requirements could be. So I'm going to go through. We have, yeah. So that's the wave 1 that we are confirmed, and then I'll go through how likely I think they are. So at first, the ones that I think we're certainly getting is Aura Singh, General Kenobi, and Savage Opress. Aura Singh because they had a relationship. It was mostly off screen, but we did see it briefly in the Clone Wars, and Aura is needed for Jabba at Relic 6, so any point above that, I think. General Kenobi, pretty obvious because of Obi-Wan and Hondo's sort of friendship. Uh, he is required at Relic 8 for Master Kenobi, so he'll be required at Relic 8 or 9. But I think those 2 are definite. And Savage Opress, I do have Maul in the maybe category, mainly because I think we'll get one of them. I don't know if we'll get. I'm not sure if we'll get both, but yeah. So this place would be for either Maul or Savage, mainly because of when they attack Florum and their duel against Obi-Wan and Adigalia. And Savage hasn't been required for a Galactic Legend before. Well, and neither's Maul, actually. So those are the ones that I think are certain. And then the likely ones, we've got Boba Fett kind of tying into the Aura Singh thing. He he did seem to have some sort of a relationship with Boba. I think it's possible he was required at Relic 7 for Jabba, so probably Relic 7 to 9. But I think there's a decent chance that they'll require Boba Fett. Embo, uh, mainly just he's in this tier. Because even though they didn't meet for that long, it was mainly just in the Felucia arc. I think he's in the likely tier as well, mainly because he's only required at Relic 5 for Lord Vader, so they could bump him up to like 6 or 7. I think he could be one of those characters, which is why he's here. Then Jedi Knight Anakin, I've put him on instead of Gas. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But obviously, like with his connection to Obi-Wan, he has a slightly less connection with Anakin. And again, he was required at Relic 7 for Sith Eternal. So any point above that, I think. And Bosk, mainly here, cause I think they did briefly meet in the Clone Wars, in the arc where Aura and Boba go to Florum. I think Bosk might go with them. I can't really remember, but he's not required for a GL yet. So that's pretty much the only reason why I think he's in this category, is purely because he just isn't required yet. He is required for Executor, but not for an actual Galactic Legend. Now we've got the maybe category. I've got snips here because there's obviously the Felucia arc, and also when he kidnaps Ahsoka in the Youngling arc. I've mainly put this as a maybe because he met her a couple times, but they didn't really have that close of a connection. And she is already required at Relic 9 for the Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano. So if they were going to require her again, it would be at Relic 9 again. And if you're doing a Hondo Galactic Legend, do you really want one of your Relic 9s to be Ahsoka? Doesn't really make much sense. I think it would make more sense to say make General Kenobi a Relic 9 requirement. I hope they don't do any more Relic 9s, but if they were going to, I think it would just make a lot more sense for it to not be Ahsoka. And then we have Chopper, mainly because his arc in Rebels with Ezra and Chopper, that's why I've got Chopper here over, say, Zeb, because Chopper's just more important to that story arc. This is basically just any other Phoenix member. I think we're gonna get one more. We might get one more, and I think Chopper would probably be the most likely. And then Maul, I've already really explained. He is a conquest unit, so I think that maybe he should have been switched with Savage. Maybe Maul is more likely. Like I said, because he's a conquest unit, and the rest of the predictions I've got, there aren't really any other legendary characters. Just because I couldn't really find any that really fit. The, I mean, we got General Kenobi as a raid character, but like the other ones, like C-3PO or Padme, like they didn't really make a ton of sense. And then I also have Django here because when Hondo does meet Boba, he does talk about him working with Django quite a lot. So I thought maybe they'd have Django potentially instead of Boba. And he was required at Relic 7 as well for Master Kenobi. So it'd probably be Relic 7 or above. Yeah, that is the. And then next that I think are unlikely, but I think are worth mentioning. Jar Jar Binks. Mainly because of the Gungan General episode. They technically did meet. I don't think it's that likely because he's so new. Like, he only came out just over a year ago, I think. um, yeah. So, having him be required, I don't know if they do that, but he is the legendary character that I think is the most likely to come. But I still don't see it really happening, just because I don't think they would require something that's so recent, but worth a mention. Next, just quickly gonna mention Boba Fett, Sign of Django. Mainly just they might require this Boba over the regular version. I don't think it's likely, but I could see them maybe doing it. Potentially if they didn't have Maul as a requirement, but they wanted to require a conquest unit, I could see them doing this character instead. But yeah, I still don't think it's very likely. And finally, Zori Bliss. Now, this is going to seem really random, but this is basically filling in Zori Bliss slash any other Rise of Skywalker characters, because canonically, Hondo was at the Battle of Exegol, so they could technically require, like, Zori or the Resistance heroes. I don't see it as very likely for a couple of reasons. One, we already have veteran smuggler Chewbacca as a requirement, so I'm not sure if they do two from Rise of Skywalker. I think if they were going to, the most likely would be Zori, or maybe Comeuppance. Actually, maybe that'd be more likely. I didn't think about that until now because I don't have a ship on the list because I didn't really see one as being very likely. But yeah, Comeuppance actually could be. And yeah, it is because you don't actually see him in Rise of Skywalker, I think it'd be really weird, but also worth a mention. And then I've got the very unlikely characters. So we've got Count Dooku, General Skywalker, Plo Koon, and Dr. Aphra. Now, I'll go through Aphra and Plo first. Plo mainly because he did meet him again in that when he meets Boba and Aura, maybe Bosk. He does meet Plo Koon, but Plo's already required at Relic 8 for Ahsoka, so requiring him at Relic 8 again felt a bit weird, and also because they only had a couple of lines together. Don't see as being very likely, but it is kind of a possibility, so I thought I'd better mention it. Dr. Aphra, I don't know if he might be connected to her from the comics. As far as I know, they're not in any way, but Hondo's marquee version is required for Dr. Aphra, so sort of they're connected in a Galaxy of Heroes way, and Hondo does sort of work on her team. So yeah, like, very unlikely. Hence why it's in the very unlikely category. But I thought it was worth bringing up. And then General Skywalker and Count Dooku, mainly because, while yes, I imagine for the legendary event we are gonna get a Gungan General section. I think if we do get that, it will be with a loaned Count Dooku and either a loaned General Skywalker or Jedi Knight Anakin. Mainly because these two are already required for two Galactic Legends, and CG doesn't seem to like. They've never done a character being required for more than two, because Count Dooku's for Sith Eternal and Lord Vader, General Skywalker, Lord Vader, and Ahsoka. They haven't done like more than two. They've got some like R2 for and C3PO and Chewie for Luke and Leia. They've got C3PO for Luke and Jabba. Jedi Training Ray for Rey and JML. It, I just don't. They've never done three, so I don't imagine these two are going to be required for any more Galactic Legends, including Hondo. But I do expect that we are going to get a Gungan General tier in it. It'll just be with a lone Count Dooku and Jedi Knight Anakin, with of course General Kenobi. And then this is to finish off talking about the new pirates, and I'm also gonna give a theoretical what I think the teams are gonna be. I will also just quickly start off. Maybe Sana Saris and Enfys Nest potentially could be requirements just because they're pirates. I don't think it's likely, but I thought I'd bring it up anyway. Um, but yeah, I don't think SM-33 or Maz Kanata are going to be required because they're new conquest units. But we do know about the other marquee pirates. There's Captain Silvo from Skeleton Crew, Brutus, and Vane, who are also, I believe, from the show. I haven't seen it. Vane is also from season 3, I think, of The Mandalorian. Then there's Quiggold and Kix, who are part of Captain Ithano's crew. Quiggold is his first mate and was seen with Captain Ithano in The Force Awakens. And Kix is, you'd probably know him as more likely as being a 501st clone. He was the medic in Rex's squad, but he got, I believe, the stories that he got frozen in carbonite, and Ithano, Quiggold, and their crew found him, and then he joined their crew. So those ones are highly likely going to be required, probably at Relic 5. But the teams do seem to be Captain Ithano, Quiggold, Hicks, and Maz, because Ithano specifically calls out Kicks and Quiggold. I think that's the wrong ability. Yeah. So it specifically calls those two out. So obviously they're going to go together, and it does make sense because they're part of the same crew. But Ithano also mentions if the ally in the leader slot is a non-galactic legend pirate support, this is clearly Maz Kanata, because Hondo is of course going to be a galactic legend, but it can't even be referring to Ithano himself because he's an attacker, and none of the other pirates have a lead apart from Sana, who's also an attacker. So clearly, the team is going to be Ithano, Kix, Quiggold, and then Maz when she comes to the game. Don't know who the fifth would be. Maybe it would be Hondo or potentially Vane. Because Vane, I think, was in Skeleton Crew, but he was also in The Mandalorian. So I think he could potentially be in this team. But the other team, I think, is probably going to be Hondo, of course, as the leader. Captain Silvo, Brutus, SM33, and then, like I said, either Vane is going to go in one of the two teams, and I think Hondo is likely going to be in the other team. I could see maybe Nest. Sana, I don't think would make really any sense, but Nest I could potentially see, but I'm pretty certain SM33 is going to be the conquest lifter for Hondo. Sucks that they're doing a conquest lifter again, but it it doesn't look like Maz and SM33 are going to be on the same team, mainly because it doesn't make much sense to have SM33 on a team without Captain Silvo, and Maz's team already seems pretty clear, like 4 out of the 5 of them. So it looks like SM33, Captain Silvo, and Brutus, because Brutus is also part of the show, and from what I saw, had strong ties to Silvo. I did look up the characters a little bit, but I haven't seen the show, so could be wrong. But it looks like those three are gonna go together, which then means they can only really go on a team with Hondo. And like I said, Vane I think could go in either team, and then the other one will likely be Hondo. And I think, oh no, that's not it. One other thing I did want to bring up was I didn't really know what to speculate about his abilities. Like he'll be the same as every Galactic Legend with a basic, two specials, two, two uniques, and a leader ability. But I think his ultimate ability will be a quote that he says in the Felucia arc, where he says, "Speak softly and drive a big tank." I think he says, I think that's the line. So I think it will probably be similar to Leia's, where she pulls out an ATST. I think he'll be like calling in uh, a Weequay tank. I think that'll be his ultimate. His other abilities, not really sure. I'm guessing his main ability is going to be his pistol. He might have an Electro Staff special ability, because it does have one of those at some point in the show, but I don't see the point in speculating much on that. Most of his good quotes are taken up by this Hondo. I also don't think they actually confirmed what his role will be, so I would see Hondo more as an attacker, but I could also potentially see support. But I think he's probably going to be an attacker. But yeah, that is my predictions for the other 7 Hondo requirements. I think definitely these two, and either Savage or Maul. probably Anakin. I was debating whether to put Anakin in this tier. Then these three bounty hunters potentially, and then less and less likely as we go down the list. So yeah, that's what I think is the most likely. If you agree or disagree with any of them, feel free to let me know in the comments. And oh, I am slightly disappointed that we didn't get any of his Clone Wars pirates because like I theorized, most of his team seems to be like pretty much all skeleton crew, which doesn't really make thematic or logical sense. I really wish we'd gotten like Turk Forso, who is the one that Dooku kills in Gungan General. There's the one with the eye patch who's working with Forso as well, and there are obviously, of course, other pirates he has. I think I would prefer them because they would make a bit more thematic sense. Because if you look at the other Galactic Legends, like Rey and Kylo, they were more blanket term of light side and dark side. But especially with the addition of Dark Side Rey, Kylo is just full on First Order. Rey, Ben Solo didn't really make her full on Resistance, but her initial team at least is fully Resistance. Sith Eternal is not really Sith, it's mainly just Wat Tambor, or potentially Bane if you're going up against a particularly difficult team. But I really wish they had a better thematic team for Sith Eternal as well. JML, his team doesn't really make logical sense, but it does make thematic sense because they're all Jedi. They're all like highly regarded Jedi. Because you've got obviously himself, and then his younger self, Jedi Knight Revan, Yoda, or I guess Jedi Knight Cal if you have him. So it at least makes thematic sense. Kenobi and Lord Vader are just Galactic Republic and Empire, or I guess Darkside clones now for Vader. Jabba, full on Heart Cartel, Leia, full on Rebel, and she does have, like, say, Drogon, who is a specifically. Can I? Oh, I can't look at him. He's in like Endor clothing. That's mainly what I wanted to show. Where that's clearly the layer that was based on. Ahsoka is all Spectre, and then so I guess his whole team is going to be pirates, so it is going to make some sort of thematic sense. But I kind of wish it was more of his Clone Wars crew, especially because he is clearly from the Clone Wars. I forgot the lore doesn't actually show up yet. Um, like this appearance is clearly based on the Clone Wars, even with his little Salacious Crumb lizard monkey thing. I don't know what it's called. Um, so yeah, I do kind of wish it was more like that. But yeah, that's all of my predictions for Hondo's requirements. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.